Patricia Swaljay, Madison Drive in Monroe resident. I'm glad, Dr. Chandler, that you brought up answering the public and also the transparency. I have to say that I've watched many school board meetings online, and I've attended a few. And what I notice is a pattern of what I believe to be discrimination against certain people who come to this podium. They do ask questions, but they don't have answers to those questions. Mrs. Skurbe, you said you read the whole bill of Assemblyman Zeichner, and I forget what the other Assemblyman's name is. You know, awarding districts about the 2% and various things. It's my understanding that we had our November election for the school board moved to April, a move that doesn't see a lot of voter turnout. So it's a move that probably is going to have less of a voter turnout than the November election would be. And also there was a reason about the budget. Now, this young lady that came up to talk about the budget and Dr. Chaley's extension on her contract and her raise, that's out into the future. That's a 5-year extension. So you haven't planned for that money yet. So you have to plan in future budgets for those salary increases, probably not just Mrs. Chaley's, but other increases. That has to be planned. And that may generate an increase in the school budget, which comes from the taxpayers of Monroe. Senior citizens are 51% of the voting public in this community. And we are 84%, what comes out of our tax dollars funds 84% of the school budget. So any taxpayer has the right to come up here and ask questions. This gentleman that came up initially in the beginning, he had several questions that you asked him to tell you right off the bat. He did that, and then you didn't answer any of them. Yes, we talk a lot about communication. We talk a lot about transparency. We talk a lot about budgets. I have to say I'm disgusted with what I've seen tonight, because it almost seems to me that there are members of the public who are targeted, and if they have questions, they just don't get answered. They get ignored. It's their right to come up here. There should be no discrimination of any member of the public when they ask a question. The question should be answered. Mrs. DePayne, you talked about communication. As a taxpayer, I would like to see better communication up here, not just the silence. Give me your questions all at once, and then you don't answer them? You've got to be kidding me. I think that's horrific. So that's my comments. The raises that you're giving, and Dr. Chansley's raise is going to equate at the end of this 5-year extension to over $1 million. Our school budget now is over $100 million. That's a huge school budget. So we as taxpayers have the right to question where that money is going. I see a lot of heads shaking. Am I wrong with the school, with what's coming for the school budget?
You're incorrect with the salary at the end of the 5 years. Yes, it is not $1 million. I don't know where you calculated that from. It's not $1 million raise.
There are
not come to $1 million.
Base salaries, stipends, and compensation, because you don't talk about the compensation, is going to equate after a 5-year period to over $1 million.
No, it is not.
Well, you need to do the math. You need to get your numbers. You need to get your numbers straight.
You do too. Thank you very much for your comments. Your time is up.